A 2026 psychology study tested what happens when you change one thing about a first date, just the timing of a text message afterward. They found that texting immediately after the date scored high. Texting 2 days later scored the lowest. But here's what nobody expected. The highest romantic interest came from texting the morning after. Not that night, not 2 days later, the next morning. One tiny detail, one massive difference. That's what first dates in 2026 are made of. Tiny details that most people get completely wrong. Today, I'm showing you every stage of a first date and the two ways people handle each one. One way works, the other one doesn't. And science can prove which is which. Stage 1. The first message. In 2026, 61% of singles say sliding into someone's DMs is completely acceptable. But how you slide in is everything. A Queen Mary University study found that profiles perceived as genuine get significantly more interest, and that showing humor directly is more attractive than claiming to be funny. So the worst opener? Hey beautiful. The second worst? Describing yourself. I'm funny, adventurous, and love to travel. You know who else says that? Everyone. The right way. Reference something specific from her profile. A hobby, a place she's been, a take she posted. It shows you actually looked. In 2026, authenticity isn't optional. It's the bare minimum. Women can spot a copy-paste opener from 3 words in. The rule is simple. If you could send the same message to anyone, it's a bad message. Stage 2. The venue. Coffee and tea ranked as the #1 preferred first date in 2026. Not dinner, not drinks, coffee. Why? Because researchers found that low-pressure environments reduce what's called dyadic stress, the anxiety two strangers feel when forced to stare at each other with nothing else going on. An $8 coffee date gives you an easy out if it's bad and a natural extension if it's good. An $80 dinner traps you for 2 hours in a hostage negotiation with breadsticks. Stage 3. The first 7 seconds. Research on first impressions shows people form a judgment about you within 7 seconds of meeting. That's before you've said a full sentence. What they're reading in those 7 seconds isn't your words. It's your nervous system. Are your shoulders relaxed or tense? Is your smile real or performed? Are you walking toward them or hesitating? Your body answers all of this before your mouth opens. Stage 4. What you actually talk about. Here's a rule that'll change everything. The 70-30 split. You should be listening 70% of the time and talking 30%. Not because you don't matter, but because the psychology of attraction shows that people feel most connected to someone who makes them feel heard. The worst move isn't being boring. It's being an interrogator. What do? Where are you from? Siblings? That's not a conversation. It's a police report. Stage 5. A trick almost nobody knows. A Cornell University study found that sharing food with someone increases perceived intimacy by 26%. Not buying them food, sharing it, splitting a pastry, letting her try your drink, eating from the same plate. It triggers a subconscious signal in the brain that says, "This person is in my circle. They're safe." That's why the best first dates aren't dinner across a table. They're sitting side by side, sharing something small. Stage 6. The phone. Here's a stat that should scare you. 54% of daters in 2026 say being rude or distracted is their #1 instant deal breaker. Not bad breath, not being broke, being distracted. Your phone on the table face up is the modern equivalent of bringing another person on the date. Every buzz is someone else interrupting your conversation. The fix is so simple, it's almost embarrassing. Stage 7. The check. Every generation disagrees on this. But here's what the data actually says in 2026. 41% of men think men should always pay. Only 35% of women agree. And Gen Z is shifting toward whoever planned the date pays. But none of that matters as much as how you handle the moment. The worst thing you can do is make it a performance. Grabbing the check aggressively and announcing, "A real man pays," turns a nice gesture into a transaction. The second worst thing, staring at the check in silence, hoping it goes away. Stage 8. The thing nobody talks about. Body language. Most people focus on what to say on a date, but 90% of communication is nonverbal. And here's the detail that'll blow your mind. The most honest part of your body isn't your face, it's your feet. Your face can fake a smile. Your feet can't. If someone's feet are pointed at you under the table, they're engaged. If their feet are pointed at the door, they're already planning their exit. FBI interrogators use this. Now you can too. Stage 9. The goodbye. Here's the gap that nobody talks about. 62% of millennial men say they would kiss on a first date. Only 37% of women agree. That's a 25-point gap, which means a quarter of all first-date kiss attempts are unwanted. Read the signals before you act. If she's standing close, making eye contact, not reaching for her keys, maybe. If she's got her purse on her shoulder and one foot pointed at her car, absolutely not. Stage 10. The text. Remember the study from the beginning? Researchers tested 3 timings: immediately after the date, the next morning, and 2 days later. Texting immediately scored high. It showed reciprocity. Texting 2 days later scored the lowest. It killed the vibe completely. But the sweet spot, the one that generated the highest romantic interest, the highest perceived reliability, and the highest perceived chemistry, was the next morning. Why? Because it signals 3 things at once. You're interested, you're not desperate, and you slept on it and still thought of her. Final stage, and the most important one. Your brain is wired to treat first dates like a threat. A Psychology Today article from January 2026 nailed it perfectly. Dating in 2026 feels less like meeting someone and more like preparing for a performance review you didn't apply for. That's your amygdala. The same part of your brain that fires when a bear chases you fires when someone cute sits across from you. The wrong mindset treats the date like an audition. Do they like me? Am I being funny enough? Did that joke land? You're not there to be evaluated. You're there to evaluate too. In 2026, a survey of singles found that the #1 thing women want in a partner isn't looks, money, or status. It's kindness. Not performed kindness, genuine kindness. Being warm to the barista, asking real questions, listening without waiting for your turn to talk. The person who gets a second date in 2026 isn't the one who tried the hardest. It's the one who felt the most real. And that's not a skill. That's a decision. Which type are you going to be on your next first date? The one who performs or the one who shows up? Drop it in the comments. And if this video just saved your next first date from being a disaster, hit subscribe. It's free, it's not awkward, and I promise I won't text you 3 days later.